So today we're going to talk about multiplying binomials. I apologize that my voice is pretty much kind of weird again, but I'm sure we'll muscle through. Okay, so multiplying binomials is your title. And remember, binomial just means two. So a binomial just means, you don't have to write this down, but like we're multiplying two things by two things. And how are we going to do that when there's multiple things there? Okay? So just to review real quick, don't write this down either. When you have like something like this, there's a monomial, one thing times two things or three things, we just distribute, correct? So we're going to follow that same principle, but it's going to look a little different. So write down example 1, please. Okay, so how you multiply these things together is we're going to distribute. Side by side means multiplied, but we're going to distribute more than once, okay? So basically what this is double distribution. All you do is you distribute twice, okay? So, and I would like you to draw these lines. So I'm going to distribute this guy here. So this guy, and we're not going to multiply him to this guy, he's going to the outside guy. So we're going to multiply this guy to this guy, and this guy over here to this guy. Okay, we're going to distribute. So technically there's ones here. 1 times 1 is 1. You could put a 1 if you want to. But x times x is x squared. Now remember, the reason for that is because when you multiply, you add your exponents. And there's technically little ones here. And 1 plus 1 is 2. So that's why. But get in the habit of that. X times x is x squared. C times c is c squared. Stuff like that. Okay? And then I go here to x times positive 6. Well, x times 6 is just 6x. It is a positive 6x. So I multiplied the parentheses by that x. Okay? But as you can tell, there's some number being left out right now, and that's the number 5. He's completely left out. There's nothing he can do. So we're going to distribute with him. That's why it's called double distribution. We're going to distribute with that 5 here. Okay? A positive 5 times x is positive 5x. A positive 5 times 6, or a positive times a positive is positive. And then 5 times 6 is 30. So all I've done is I've distributed twice. Double distribution. That's what you're doing. Okay? And then the second thing you're going to do is you're just going to combine like terms. Combine like terms. And the only thing that's alike here is going to be the middle. And you'll hear me say that, like combine the middle. Because here I have an x squared. There's no other x squared, so just write x squared. But I can combine this. Positive 6 plus 5 is a positive 11x. And then plus 30 comes down. This right here is your final answer. Okay? So when you multiply a binomial, you're going to get a squared, or sometimes even more than that, but we're just going to practice with the squared. Okay? So you just double distribute, you combine like terms. This process, if you ask like your parents, sometimes they'll remember it as FOIL. That's how I learned it when I was in high school, FOIL. What it stands for is first, which means I multiply my first terms. Outside, I multiplied my outside terms. Inside, I multiplied my inside terms. And then last, I multiplied the last terms. FOIL. However, I think that can get confusing for a lot of kids, so I just say double distribute. We're just distributing twice. That's all you got to do. Okay? Now, the only way we're going to get fast at this is just to get more practice. So let's keep going. So write that down. So we're going to double distribute. Okay? So yet again, we take this first guy here, and we're going to multiply it to the other ones. I would like you to draw those lines so you know what you're doing. Okay? So we're going to multiply the big numbers. 2 times, well, there's no number here, but it's like a 1, right? So 2 times 1 is 2. And then n times n is n squared. Okay? N squared. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. And n and nothing is still n. So let me go back again. 2 times 1 was 2, which is big numbers. We treat them like normal. And then n times n is n squared. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. And then there's only one n. Okay? That's good, and now I have to take care of that 1 because nothing's happening with that guy. So we're going to distribute with that 1, and it's a positive 1. So 1 times n is just a positive 1n. Okay? 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. So that's step 1, you double distribute. That's really the only thing that's new, because step 2, combining like terms, you've done before. And we're going to combine the middle. So 2n squared. And then what is negative 8 plus 1 is negative 7n minus 4. And there you go. So we are distributing twice, and then we just combine those middle terms there. Okay? So from there, let's just keep doing a couple more examples. I know what you're saying is, oh, I got this, I'll move on. But some weird things happen, so we're going to make sure we know what's going on. So yet again, double distribute. We're going to distribute here. Draw those lines, please. It makes me happy. 2 times 3 is 6. And then c times c is c squared. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. And there's only one c, so c here. And then we draw the lines for the other guy. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3 with a c. Negative 1 times negative 2, well, be careful. A negative times a negative is a positive, and then 1 times 2 is 2. You need to be very clear and careful with the signs you choose. You know, negatives are a minus sign, and a positive would be an addition sign. And then we combine these like terms here. So 6c squared. Negative 4 minus 3 is negative 7c plus 2. And you can use your calculators for that if you need to. Or remember, guys, if they're the same sign, we just add them. 4 and 3 is 7, and then the sign comes down. Okay? So you have that right there. And then let's go ahead. Let's get that one. All right, so I put little stars here by example 5, which would be example 4 for you. There's a couple of things that kind of happen with this stuff that I want you to look at, okay? So we're going to multiply these things together. So I'm going to draw my lines like this. X times x is just x squared. You could put a 1 in front if you want, but you don't have to. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. Remember, there's a 1 here. So 1 times negative 5 is negative 5, and then the x just comes with it. Then we distribute this guy. So 5 times x, positive 5 times x is a positive 5x. And then 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. So we write those out. That's step 1, double distribute, FOIL basically. Step 2 is we combine like terms. So I'm going to combine these right here. So I have my x squared. But here's where this gets a little different. I have negative 5x plus 5x. Well, negative 5 plus 5 is 0, right? I don't want you writing 0 x's. If it's negative 5 plus 5 and it cancels out, those just go away, and then you're left with minus 25. Okay? So that's possible where they're going to cancel out, and then you just write the first and the last term because your middle terms go away. That's possible. What's also possible is you seeing something like this. Write that down, please. 2x squared plus 1, and then the whole thing squared. Here's what some of you will try to do, and don't do this, is you've learned your exponent rules, and you're like, oh, well, I multiply my exponents. So don't write this by the way. 2 squared is 4, and there's like a 1 here, so 2 times 1 is 2, plus, and then 1 squared is just 1, and then you'll give me that as an answer. Okay? Do not do that. That is not correct, and I will show you why. Whenever we've done stuff like that in the past, you don't have to write this, there's never been like a plus or minus sign in the middle, okay? There's always just like one thing in here. But now I do have a plus sign in the middle. So remember that squared means times itself. So this means 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. So when you see this, I need you to write it out as 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. All right? And now it's we're multiplying binomials together. So if you need to make a little note for yourself, if you see a squared, write it out, or something like that, so you know you have to write those out. And then we just multiply. So 2x times 2x. Well, 2, or I'm going to draw multiply lines. 2 times 2 is 4, and x times x is x squared. 2 times 1 is 2, and there's an x there. And then we distribute that 1. So 1 times 2 is 2, and there's an x there. 1 times 1 is 1. All right? And then we combine our like terms. So 2x plus 2x is 4x. So we have 4x squared plus 2 plus 2 is 4x plus 1. Like that. So you're going to see stuff like that, okay? So make sure you write it out side by side. Your very last example, just real quick, is a word problem. Go ahead and copy that one down, please. Example 7. What is the area of a rectangle with a length of 4h plus 1 and a width of h minus 5? So a length of 4h plus 1 and a width of h minus 5. So real quick, we have a rectangle. I like to draw out word problems. It makes it more sense to me. A length of 4h plus 1 and then a width of h minus 5. Okay? So I could find like perimeter by combining the like terms, but it's asking for the area. And area is length times width. So I have to multiply these things together. Now it does not matter which one you put first. I'll just go ahead and put the 4h one first. But I have to multiply these things together. And so when you do that, you have to do double distribution. And you might say, well, Ms. Molina, we've done area before and we've never had to do that. You're correct. But when I've given it to you before, it wouldn't be something like this. It would be just a regular number, and then you would just be multiplying numbers together. But now we have a binomial. So we're going to go ahead and double distribute. So 4 times 1 basically is 4, and h times h is h squared. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20, and there's an h there. And then we distribute the next one, that 1 there. So 1, positive 1 times h is plus 1h, or just plus h. And then 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. So we double distribute, and then we combine the like terms, which is negative 20 plus 1. So I bring down my 4h squared. Negative 20 plus 1 is negative 19h. And then we minus 5. Boom. Okay? So there you go. That is multiplying binomials through double distribution, or you might hear it be called FOIL, something like that. Remember, some things can cancel out. You can have a squared, and then you have area problems as well. If you have any questions, as always, you just let me know.